all of the autoimmune diseases are in remission. As of now, I have 0 autoimmune conditions.
Hello, carnivores, and welcome to session number 49 of the #1 bodybuilding podcast in the United Kingdom. Dr. Kelsey Clevenger is a family chiropractor in Washington State, USA. Her fascination with food as medicine began in her early 20s after struggling with an eating disorder. Her family raised their own beef while growing up, but their diet veered more towards the standard American diet than whole foods. Dr. Kelsey started her carnivore lifestyle in 2019 after hitting a roadblock with her journey of healing multiple autoimmune issues. She and her toddler daughter are now eating a protein-focused diet. Her interest in making tallow skincare was born from a desire to have a creative outlet after feeling like she had lost herself in motherhood. And yeah, no wonder you and my wife relate together so well on that.
Yeah.
Wow. So 2 things before we jump into the meat. Number 1, here's our Spotify podcast review of the week. It is from Michael Payne from the UK. Epic listen, guys. Thanks very much. That was in response to session number 47, the carbohydrate insulin model, reverse diets, and why not all calories are the same. Cheers to that, mate. Had the whole gang on that one to help me bust those myths from every angle. Definitely need their help. They are brilliant. Appreciate it very much. Okay, so now we kick off every single CCC recording with an L.I.S.S. So for Carnivore Coach's Corner, I'm not talking about cardio. I'm talking about a listener-inspiring success story. Today we are going to hear from Montey. He is a Lithuanian-born carnivore bodybuilder, and he lives in the United States. His Instagram is pumpingshark, just like it sounds. All right. We are going to hear right now from Mr. Montey.
Hey, so the reason I've been doing the carnivore diet has been mostly due to the mental health benefits that I've experienced on it. For years, I've attempted to do things like meditation and therapy and, working out super hard, but none of it has given me the calmness and the composure that I've experienced on the carnivore diet, which still ceases to amaze me. And I'm super grateful for it. And this is why I continue to explore the carnivore diet and share the message.
Thanks for submitting your success story, Mr. Montey. Listeners, if you are a carnivore with an inspiring success story, contact Coach Mark or myself, and we will get your message out where people need to hear it. The carnivore community is growing across the globe. The more we all share what's working, the more we will continue to learn and grow from each other. Dr. Kelsey, welcome to Carnivore Coach's Corner.
Thanks, Coach Colt. I'm excited and actually grateful to be here.
Absolutely. Do you know who Pumping Shark is? Have you seen him on Instagram? He's got a killer physique.
No. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Can you relate to what he was saying?
Mental health aspect. Yeah. Like when I was listening to that, I was like, okay. Like he and I had the same benefits from our carnivore journey. And I was actually talking with Caitlin Weeks from Grass Fed Girl yesterday because she's the one that introduced me to carnivore. And I was like thanking her again for introducing me because the night and day difference of my mental health it's like outrageous. I can't even describe it. So I definitely relate to him, to Monty as well.
Absolutely. So how did your carnivore journey begin?
Okay, so like I said, Caitlin had recommended it to me. She and I were chatting in our DMs on Instagram, and both of us had struggled with Hashimoto's. And I had done like AIP and all kinds of elimination diets and really just like had dove in head first. And there really weren't very many things I could tolerate. And she was like, why don't you try just meat? And I thought that was honestly like the dumbest thing because I had just finished chiropractic college. I had just finished like advanced nutrition education, microbiology. Like I understood why I needed vegetables and I understood like why, like the science, like, and I air quote science behind all these things. So that was like, I thought that was the dumbest thing ever. And then a couple more months go by and I'm just like watching her on her social media because this is back in like 2019. So this is, when not the community just wasn't as like big. And then finally I was like, all right, fine. Like nothing else is working. I feel horrible. I was holding on to some extra belly fat that I was like, I don't feel like I should be. I'm like, I'm just gonna try it for 30 days. And my personality is like, when I just do something, I am going to do it. And so I did carnivore for 30 days and then I did lion diet for 30 days and I was like, I feel amazing. So I just stuck with it.
Wow. Okay. So what did you, because the biggest mental health benefits that I notice is actually when I go back and forth between semi-strict keto carnivore to lion diet. And so whenever I get off of the lion diet, the only things that I really consume is just any performance supplements that I think are really worth it, like creatine glycerol phosphate or
Hmm.
transallylglutamine or something.
Hmm.
And then Keto Bricks, but I don't miss eggs. I don't miss bacon. And so I don't eat either of them. I don't really eat chicken anymore because I just love red meat. But when I go from keto to strict line to where it's what I'm doing right now, I'm on day number 36 today of a 60-day lion diet challenge. I'm doing it with 2 months with my client Danielle. And that's when I feel the most peaceful, the most
Hmm.
well-being, just overall.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, Taylor's mom was one of the people that told me that I just am more pleasant to be around when I'm on the lion diet. She's like he's just like so much more calm. and,
Wow.
and I was like, wow, if it's coming from my mother-in-law, it's definitely the
It
truth.
must
So
be real.
I'm just taking that as such a compliment.
Yeah.
So Monty, I'm with you on that one, pal. Cool. So speaking of my beautiful wife, the way that
Yeah.
the way that you two know each other is pretty special. Can you would
Yes.
you mind sharing that?
Yeah. It's totally serendipitous. So 2021, I became a mom. And this is still, well, and I'm in Washington State. We were still locked down. We still had to wear masks until last year.
And what part of Washington State do you live in?
Olympia. Yep. So
Okay.
like an hour south of Seattle. It's our state capital.
Right. Okay, so for our listeners, I Taylor and I lived an hour and a half north of you for about 7 years, and then an hour and a half south of you for 2 years, and
Hmm.
now we're like and now we're like 20 hours away from you, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I'm totally like kicking myself in the butt for like us not connecting because when you guys moved, it almost was like so fast. And then we were like, shoot,
Yeah,
we didn't get together when we were in the same state, but it'll happen at some point. But
we'll make it happen soon somehow.
yeah, no, we totally will. Yeah, so I had this really lonely journey of becoming a mom. I was on my own the entire time, plus a lockdown. And so Crystal Sikes and I became friends through Instagram. And she and I were chatting, and we decided that we would start this monthly Zoom meeting with other moms, like just as a way to connect. And
Yeah,
so, yeah, so Crystal had invited Taylor and a few clients. And then I had invited some other chiropractor friends, and it ended up being this group of maybe like 8 or 10 women, which really didn't last very long. People kind of like fell out. And then after a few months, Crystal Taylor and I were just like, all right, we just want to do this still. And so since 2021, we have a text group, we FaceTime, and we've really just grown in so much community. And it does feel serendipitous and so special. Taylor and I haven't been able to meet yet, as you know, but Crystal and I have. And I know that Crystal and Taylor have. So we're just kind of figuring out when all of us can get together. So.
Yes, people, what's happening? Hope everybody's good. So, if you're on TikTok, make sure you're following us on our accounts, Carnivore Coaches Corner. TikTok is flooded with fake coaches that give out horrible advice, shit advice concerning your health. If you don't believe me, get a load of this.
So fed up of scum buckets on social media making you think that this bowl of fruit and this bowl of sugar is
Time out. All carbohydrates get broken down into simple sugars once they're digested. That goes for fruit, grains, and Cocoa Puffs.
These snot-flicking fuck faces are full of shit. Firstly, these bowls having equal calories are where their similarities end. The main problem these delirious dickweeds have with fruit is against the sugar molecule fructose. By the way, if you appreciate the fact that I'm not calling them cunts because they lack the depth and warmth, then maybe give me a follow. The research shows when people control their calories, fructose doesn't affect your fat gain or your risk of metabolic disease.
Whoa, gotta take my second time out now because I just looked up all 4 of those studies that you just cited about fructose, and all of those participants were consuming other forms of carbohydrates that they just replaced with fructose. All of these studies are implying the same thing, that fructose isn't any worse for you than other types of sugar. Big deal. Meth, cocaine. If you're serious about your health, I recommend staying away from both of them.
In fact, it protects you.
Timeout number 3. Maybe I'm just a dumb bodybuilding coach, but I'm pretty sure that what you meant to say was metabolic syndrome, which includes diseases such as type 2 diabetes, which we all know is caused by sugar.
Fuck, if you're training and you're not eating like a toddler, then you can deep throat as many yellow tree dicks and other fruit as you want.
And obviously you are dead wrong on what you said about calories, but I got nothing to say on that because I've already used all 3 of my timeouts. Steve, you want to come tell this boy a thing or two? Maybe wait until he's done deep-throating bananas, though. I didn't know that people actually did that.
Calories are units of heat. You can't eat a calorie. I will debate you on this topic all day, any day. Fructose is what you get in fruit. It's the most damaging molecule in the human body, and more so than glucose, because it oxidizes and glycates your tissues. It's not good. You don't want that in your body. Fruit today is also hybridized. It's nothing like it used to be. It's been selectively bred over generation and generation to be more palatable, more full of water, and way more, oh yeah, sugar.
Make sure you give us a follow over there, okay? We also post meal prep videos, workout tips, and tips from top carnivore doctors and nutritionists from across the globe. Now back to the show.
You had not to change gears in like in a more to a more somber topic, but you had an eating disorder in your early 20s.
Yeah.
Is that something that is that something that we can talk about?
Yes, of course. So I am very open about that because I think that as we share our stories, it can help liberate other people. And carnivore diet is that when I say mental health, that's really what it helped me with. Was a lot of my fear around food or fear of eating enough or too much, fear of getting fat. I had this obsession with food. It was like I would eat, but I don't think I ever ate to satiety. So I just was like always hungry, always moody, always just like I guess obsession would be the word. So even though I wasn't, I mean, by the time I started carnivore, it'd been years since I'd really like struggled with the eating disorder, but I wasn't like recovered all the way, if that makes sense. It still was like something that kind of lingered in the back and I could like easily fall back into it. And the biggest change that I had noticed when I started eating carnivore was that I didn't obsess about food. Like I could eat, like move on with my day, move on with the rest of my life. And I wouldn't even think about food again until I was actually hungry. And that was actually when I first started even feeling a hunger signal because I didn't know what hunger felt like for my body.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely was like, well, one of the things I remember on my outpatient treatment is that my doctor was like, well, people with, like, I struggled with anorexia and then bulimia. And so she was like, people with bulimia, they're going to have it the rest of their lives. And I remember like hearing that and just being like, shoot, like I can't have this the rest of my life. And just kind of like having this thought process of like, okay, well, I'm going to be different.
That sounds like a pretty self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right?
Wow.
I just remember thinking like I'm going to be different. And so every year it kind of was like improvement. And then all of a sudden when I really stopped eating vegetables, it was like this huge improvement where I was like, I don't even want to do this anymore. Like, I don't even want that to be a part of my identity anymore.
Yeah.
And it didn't even feel like it was a part of me. And that all started with eating meat.
Wow. What kind of autoimmune issues did you have and do you still have them? Are the symptoms suppressed or are they like gone altogether?
Yeah. So I had Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And then when I was in chiropractic college, I developed lupus and seborrheic dermatitis, which is a skin condition, and then psoriasis, which is another skin condition. And so I was dealing with all 4 of those. They all went into remission the first 18 months that I was on the carnivore diet. And then when I got pregnant, I had this like severe aversion to meat, which obviously like is so common for a lot of moms, and everything came back because I wasn't eating only meat anymore. And I'm sure other, taxes on my body and stressors, like cross country move, all the things.
Yeah.
And so then when I had my daughter, I felt like, okay, I'm going to do paleo again because that's what I did prior. So
Paleo is the gateway drug to keto, and keto is the gateway drug to carnivore.
you think so?
Yeah, for most
I
people.
I skipped keto. I jumped from paleo to carnivore. I didn't do
Really? Okay,
keto.
okay.
Yeah, that's why I was like, is it? Yeah. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna do paleo again. I was dealing with some health issues again. I also was exposed to mold, and so that definitely flared up some of the symptoms. But as of now, which my daughter's almost 3, after doing carnivore again, back into like very strict carnivore, and then a liver gallbladder cleanse, kind of a metabolic clearing. All of the autoimmune diseases are in remission. And what's wild is I have a new doctor because I'm in a new state, and he actually doesn't even believe me that I ever had autoimmunity. He was like, "Well, I think you were misdiagnosed," which was wild to me because I was like, "Okay, you clearly haven't seen someone go into remission like that." So as of now, I have 0 autoimmune conditions.
Praise God.
I know, right?
Amazing. Okay. So what does a typical day of eating look like for you? Not when you're on the lion diet, but just on a standard, just the everyday standard as a carnivore.
Yeah. So standard for me, I would say our way of eating is a little bit more like dirty carnivore. I like to add cheese in here and there if I feel like it. But a standard day would be scrambled eggs and bacon for breakfast. Lunch is generally like half beef, half chicken, usually like boneless, skinless chicken thighs are my favorite. And then dinner is usually just beef.
Wow. I
And
got
then Redmond real salt and Redmond, the organic Redmond seasoning salt. That's like it's like crack. I love that stuff.
between the speaking of not speaking of crack, speaking of Redmond real salt, this is my paperweight in my office.
Oh, I love it.
Do you know what it is?
Is it salt?
It's a Redmond salt crystal, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I'll just
Did
like
you get it in Utah?
do you know who Dr. Fit and Fabulous is?
Yeah.
She gave it to me as a gift when I was in Omaha coaching Melanie Murray through a bodybuilding competition.
Oh, that's a thoughtful gift.
It was super nice. I actually just I kept it for like a year. Didn't even want to break it out of the package because it kind of has sentimental value. But I'm like, all right. But the more I've been listening to Dr. Kelsey's been talking about how he like licks salt throughout the day like a cow because he does
Yeah.
1 meal a day, and like I've been kind of doing the same thing, but like with the just like with the travel packs or whatever. But having the salt crystal, it's I don't know, I love it. Between the fine ground Redmond salt and the kosher cut, what's your favorite?
I usually go with the fine.
Hmm.
But have you tried the smoked?
No, I didn't know they had smoked salt.
You need to get it. It's so
Well,
good.
yeah, I need to get out more. Wow. Okay. I'm making a note of
Yeah.
that.
The smoked salt is, but I'm telling you, like, the organic seasoning salt, I can't get away from that one. And that one, my toddler loves it too. She'll just, if I like spill it on the counter or something, she'll lick her finger and like get all the salt off of the counter and eat it. She loves it.
I love it. So on your days that on your carnivore days, basically the only things that you're eating, it sounds like, that are not on the lion diet are cheese, eggs, bacon, and chicken, right?
Hmm.
And then some occasional keto bricks. When you go lion, what so the difference between that for our listeners that don't know, I'm sure most of our listeners that knowing them, are familiar with the lion diet, but in case you're not, it's an extension, it's a subcategory of the carnivore diet that eliminates everything except for red meat, water, and salt. And so that leaves out cheese, eggs, bacon, and chicken. So when you cut out eggs, cheese, bacon, and chicken for for a certain period of time to do the lion diet, what differences do you notice?
Hmm. I honestly thrive more on carnivore than lion. I generally am not someone who feels deprivation, but I don't thrive on the lion diet. I feel a little deprived and like I start thinking about food more.
Hmm.
Um, so that's just the difference for me. Like it's not my cup of tea. Like I was
Wow.
glad I tried it and I tried it a few times, but contrary to popular I guess like popular outcomes, I just don't love it as much for me.
That's good to know. Thanks for telling me that. Yeah, it makes me forget about food. And so
Mm,
because I can't do more. I can't really do more than a 24-hour fast. It's just like mentally, and just like as a bodybuilder, it's like I don't like it. Like I've had clients that have done it and that do it all the time and they love it and they don't lose any muscle and they feel stronger and they feel like the best that they ever have in their entire life after 2 or 3 days of no food. And I'm not gonna lie, like it's just something that I'm uncomfortable with personally. It's kind of hard for me to do, except for when I'm online. When I'm online, like
mm.
whatever. Like I can skip a day. It's not that big of a deal. Like,
Yeah,
uh,
that's really fascinating. I love like the bio individuality behind nutrition, even when it comes
right.
to like carnivore versus keto versus lion. Like there's just so much bio individuality.
Yeah. Well, any nutritionist that all the nutritionists I listen to that are worth their cents will say that if you're carnivore and that's working for you, you're 100% of the way there, and that's a proper human diet. So I love it. As far as keto bricks go, favorite
Yeah.
flavor?
I really like the chocolate mint that was launched, what was it, around the holidays? Maybe just after. That one's my
Yeah,
favorite.
that one was
Yeah.
good. That was really good.
I still have an intolerance to whey, and so the plant-based protein in that one is great for me. But my daughter, she loves the nootropics. What one is icing? What is that one called?
Nootropic icing.
Yeah, she crushes those. Like she'll eat half a brick at one sitting. So that's definitely her favorite.
Wow. Yeah, nootropic and Bell's brownie batter are definitely my two
Oh
favorites.
yeah. Yeah, that's a fan favorite too. I know, even though I don't tolerate whey very well, I still will take like little tastes of her bricks. I'm like, they're so good.
Yeah. What you said about getting lost in motherhood earlier was so absolutely heartwarming because my wife went through the exact same thing. Like it's like she just went like into a major depression
Mm,
for a short amount of time with James because it's like she wasn't working her full time job anymore. We were going off of my income from my corporate job at the time, and then personal training here and there on the side for the most part, and so. Um, her not doing that anymore just she kind of got lost in a lot of it anyway.
mm-hmm.
um Sorry, I just wanted to say that
Oh no.
that I that I totally feel you where you're coming from there.
Mm,
Because I watched her experience that first thing, and so I'm super glad that you two have each other's resources to be able to
yeah.
to be able to talk to you about stuff like that. As a matter of fact, um, my last client check-in, we went quite a bit into Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9, which talks about the importance of having each other. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their efforts. For if either falls, his companion can lift him up, but pity the one who falls without another to lift him up.
Mm.
This is also our nutrition channel, and so we try to keep most of our Jesus talk for our other podcast. That is our supersetyourlife.com podcast for our listeners. But we'll get back on topic. So, okay. You and your toddler daughter now eat a protein focused diet. What does What do you feed your kids? Like the same foods that that you eat, or do you feed them like Honey Nut Cheerios and everything because everybody on TV says that that's how you have a healthy heart?
Yeah. So nutrition's been interesting because my daughter is a daycare kid, and she's been in daycare since she was 8 weeks old. And there are standards as far as like what you have to send your kids to daycare with for like food. So it's been
Yeah.
really interesting. So at home, she eats meat, eggs, cheese, fruit. She well, one thing actually, like, she's actually taught me a lot about the bioindividuality because she craves beans. And traditionally, I would have been like, no beans, like, none. But the fact that like, at 1 year old, she was asking for beans and
Huh.
she will just like devour them. But also, her heritage is she's half African. So I went back and studied like African, like, nutrition and culture as far as like the agriculture and what people thrive on. And it's fascinating. There's like a genetic component as far as like thriving on beans. So I was like, okay, I am gonna just be flexible on that one because I was like, I can't deny her. It's not like she's asking for like Doritos. She's asking for beans.
Yeah.
So she will have beans once or twice a week. I actually learned a lot about the bean protocol because of that. Because again, coming from like a paleo background, I was like, no beans. Like,
Right.
no. So yeah, so she will.
Because those are a huge sin if you're on the paleo diet, but
Oh, huge.
not that big of a deal if you're a bodybuilder because the glycemic index, from what I understand from beans, is actually extremely low, and of course they're high in protein.
Right. So, but as far as like carnivore, like beans would be like no.
Right.
So she does eat beans. She'll do like some Siete brand, like maybe she'll do some chips or tortillas occasionally. Part of it is finding a balance, especially at daycare, where like if they're serving chicken nuggets, it's like, okay, I make her carnivore chicken nuggets and send them to daycare. Or if they're having chicken quesadillas, then I make her one with a siete quesadilla because she is old enough now where she's like questioning like, why don't I get what the other people eat? And I really I'm trying to focus on not creating a nutrition complex for her and letting
Good.
her like explore foods, but in a controlled way where we don't do gluten at home or ever. But just kind of figuring out like how can I make her feel like she's not the weird kid, especially
Yeah.
because I can't explain nutrition to her right now. All she sees is like her friends get this and she doesn't.
Right.
And so, yeah, there's a little bit more flexibility with her nutrition. And not so much with mine because I mean, she's thriving. She's doing amazing. I mean, we don't go to well baby checkups, but she's doing awesome. I'm the one that needs a very structured diet. And I really, honestly, I want to protect her from having the same kind of food issues that I've had in the past. So,
I think that's very, very wise. Yeah. I think that your history of food issues and my history of food issues are not too different from each other. I was
mm,
never able to get a handle on my eating disorder until I went strict carnivore, and that's what did. When I went keto, I was like 90% of the way there, but I still had my
mm,
times where I would definitely binge and purge, and like it was ugly. I'm completely open and honest about it, and I kind of wish more guys would be because I know that guys deal with
mm,
it probably as much as ladies do, but I don't know if guys are just we have a little more pride we got to deal with or something.
mm,
But it's a battle that unfortunately a lot of people really face, and uh, we're
mm,
and if you're in the middle of it right now, you just got to understand you're fighting a losing battle because what we're up against is misinformation. You're up
mhm,
against temptations. You're up against. Culture doesn't really support a ketogenic carnivorous diet
mhm,
that much right now. But I mean, it's coming along. The carnivore community is really growing. The keto community is really growing, and
mhm.
I think it's getting to the point to where if you're on a ketogenic diet, you're probably not the only keto guy at the gym anymore. So
Yeah. But having community, it makes such a difference. Well, and I want to just say, like, thank you. I mean, I know this is your show, But thank you for being transparent and just open about that, because
Yeah.
it can feel like this shameful thing because people don't really understand it. So thank you for just being transparent.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just people people need to hear what the answer is, and the answer is we're not eating the right food. We are eating what Bill Gates and what Google wants you to eat, and what your doctor wants you to eat, that probably is trying to sell you statins. I don't know. Maybe that was a little bit extreme at the end, but I've had too many of my clients' doctors try to sell them statins because they have high LDL. Yeah, cholesterol is good for you. If you're eating a high fat diet, you're gonna have higher cholesterol. Like, that's just common sense. That does not mean that you're gonna have heart disease, especially if
Right.
your triglycerides are low. And that's when I say, email your doctor back and show them a picture of you, and then ask them ask them what your triglycerides are.
Mm.
Usually their response is, yeah, I don't think you're at risk for heart disease.
That's
especially
really good.
especially if
Like, that's good coaching technique.
yeah. Thanks. I'm a coach. I'm not a doctor, though. Listen to your doctor, everybody. If your doctor's saying you need medication, take it.
But
Okay.
I would say, like, though, encouraging people to question it though is so positive, because I mean, as a
Yeah.
doctor of chiropractic, I mean, obviously it's different, but when a patient gives me pushback, say like on a treatment or like a nutrition recommendation or like a care plan, like I want pushback, because it's
Mhm.
like we're our own authority for our body.
Yeah.
And so I think like empowering people to push back and ask questions is really important.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Um, Back to the foods that you were feeding your kids.
Yeah.
Have you tried? Has Taylor showed you our Lego molds yet with the keto bricks?
Yes. Well,
Those are
we
so
got
cool.
those too. Yeah.
I've been doing that with my tallow too, because I'm
Oh,
not
that's
even
a good
kidding.
idea.
Yeah.
That's a super good idea. Yeah, I started at holidays. Well, Taylor and I both started doing this, is getting different molds for different holidays.
Mhm.
And then we have a local grocery store here that's like, it's like a, I don't know, natural food store. And they carry a whole bunch of molds. And so I let, like, probably once a month, my daughter and I go and she picks out a new mold, whether it's like robots or Legos. And she has worms and dog bones, like all kinds of funny things. It makes Keto Brick so fun.
Yeah. Hey, podcast listeners. Hope you're enjoying the show. Real quick, if you've never spoken with Coach Mark Ennis, what are you waiting for? He has changed my life personally, as well as coaches some of my closest family members. Check out what these three ladies have to say about their experience working with him.
Hi, my name is Louise. I'm a client of Mark's. I've been with Mark a good while now. I want to look leaner, I want to look better, healthier. If I didn't have those check-ins with Mark, I'd be in a dark place. He is the person I tell everything to, because he is the person that's going to get me to where I want to be.
I came to Mark unhappy with my bone density and body composition. Not only am I turning my life around, I'm actually now a better example for my daughters, for their futures. I look forward to continuing to work with Mark to keep getting stronger and leaner. So thank you very, very much, Mark.
Hi, I started with Mark last April. At the time, I was stuck in a bit of a rush. I was eating healthily during the week and then binging at the weekend on wine and snacks and things like that. After meeting Mark, he explained to me exactly what I was doing wrong and why I wasn't losing weight. The fact that I was also menopausal wasn't helping the matter. So he set about setting up a plan that suited my needs. And from day one, I haven't looked back. I've lost all the weight that I wanted to lose. I exercised every day, walking and weights, but once or twice I had injuries with the weights, and Mark just changed the plan up. I was always one that was mad into carbs. I would never have thought that I could give up carbs, but from listening to Mark and trusting him and following his plan and not having to think too much for myself, because Mark does that for me, I was able to follow it.
So there you go. The easiest way to contact Mark is through Instagram. He is at fitnessbeyondtime01, and he is not your typical Instagram influencer, by the way. All of his followers are his present and past clients. Follow his page and you will find nothing but quality educational content and testimonial after testimonial from people like you, just like the ones that you heard. No Instagram, no problem. Your life is probably better off without it. In that case, you can email ennismark93@gmail.com. There is one S, that is ENNISMARK93@gmail.com. Just tell him what your goal is, and he'll definitely take it from there. Now, back to the show. The carnivore chicken nuggets that you mentioned.
Yeah.
How do you
Yeah.
make those? Those sound good.
So those are chicken breast. You cut them into 1-inch squares or rectangles, I mean, approximately. And then dip it in milk or cream. And then the mixture is a combination of ground up pork rinds, some nutritional yeast, and back to the Redmond organic seasoning salt, whatever like seasonings you like. Like the recipe recommends like garlic and onion. We don't do that just because we don't. But then you just like roll it around in the mixture and then air fry them for 4 minutes on each side. And they're done. And they look like a chicken nugget. And they're so good.
Super simple. There you
Yeah.
go, everybody. Awesome. Okay. Animal-based skincare. This was a completely new concept to me because I had always been I've never been like much of a lotion or a skincare guy or anything. I mean, like never like super obsessed about it, but like I didn't know that there were animal-based skincare products available, and I didn't know why that would even be important. But it makes sense if plants, generally speaking, you and I believe are toxic to the body, which they are. Then it would make sense that if you have skin issues, that probably less plant products is a step in the right direction. So anyway, when I started talking with people like Stephen Thomas and Richard Anthony Smith, and after speaking at Carnivore-a-thon, I realized that that animal-based skincare is actually a thing. And so I actually went so far as to stop using shampoo. I stopped using conditioner, and I've stopped I've stopped using soap in the shower. My wife wasn't too happy about that, and so I definitely had body odor and like not the best hair for a couple weeks. But I've heard enough people doing this, and they say, no, look, the body odor goes away after the first like after you stop using deodorant. And so I stopped using deodorant too. And so I basically stopped using all topical products for my body that came from plants, and the only skincare and I use it for hair gel. I use it for everything. Is just the stuff that you sent us, and
awesome.
Yeah, and I love it. Like it feels great. It feels great on my face. Like it just like I really love putting this stuff on, and so I don't see any reason to change or revert back to the way that I was, I guess, to my original to my original hygiene habits. I mean, if I'm going to church or something, I'm going to be around a lot of people. Then I put deodorant on. Like I'm not a total weirdo, but just like generally speaking, every day, like it's pretty much just this animal-based tallow product. And so, you said that your interest in making skincare was born from a desire to have a creative outlet after feeling like you lost yourself in motherhood. What is this skincare product that you make it? I don't even know where to start with it. It's cool stuff.
Okay.
Tell us about it.
So I didn't even know that tallow could be made into skincare. I've always been super creative, and I used to bake and make like really amazing, beautiful things, but I don't even want to contribute to someone's diabetes at this point. So I was like, okay, I've made jewelry, like all kinds of things. And so literally this whole concept came from, I went on Pinterest and I started looking at things that you can do with tallow. So my best friend from elementary school, she and her husband they're like local ranchers, and we get our beef from them. And with my beef order, I ordered some suet, the like really like good fat that's around the kidneys. It's the one that doesn't have any like ligaments or anything in it. Really pure. And I went on this like Pinterest binge when my daughter was sleeping. She was 1.5, I think. And I just was like, what can I make with this? because I just needed something. Like I had this desire to use parts of the animal that gets wasted often, like usually just goes in the trash.
Yeah.
And so first I made candles. And to be honest, like tallow candles are just not my thing. I mean, it was fine, but I was just like, this isn't my thing. Where it came back to skincare is that I've been a brand advocate with Beauty Counter for about 7 years. And so very passionate about clean skincare, knowing what goes on our bodies. We also stopped using soap quite some time ago. And so
Cool.
I like on Pinterest, I just found like you could make tallow skincare. And so I went on this deep dive looking on different people's websites and like checking out their recipes and learning about like the benefits of tallow. And then I tried several recipes until I found what I felt was really good for actually technically my daughter's skin is I wanted something like nourishing for her that didn't have any like BS in it. And that's how it was born.
Wow.
I just stayed up at night making tallow skincare in my kitchen while my kids slept.
It's good stuff. I think what I like about it what I like about it so much is it's soft and like I don't need to like jam my fingers into it and then like rub it around in my hands for a minute like I have with other tallow based skincare products. I've tried a couple different brands, but yours is like is like particularly soft and just like I don't know, easy, and it just like is more pleasant to use.
Thank you. I appreciate hearing that. I've actually
Yeah.
never used anyone else's tallow skincare. So I don't have anything to compare it to.
Yeah.
But I do think so. I had to get this like very like good like beef fat education from my friend, and she made sure that I had the purest fat. And so I don't know. I wonder if maybe like some other brands are rendering from other cuts of beef. I don't know. But I add a couple things to mine. So I add a little bit of organic olive oil. So there is like a little bit of plant-based in it. And then there's a little bit of calendula oil,
For
which
more on,
is like,
sorry to cut you off. For more on olive oil, check back like 3 or 4 sessions ago in our heart health special. We had like a huge argument about olive oil for about a half hour and pulled up all kinds of studies on it. But at the end of the day, olive oil is legit. It's don't worry
well,
about it.
and especially though, I mean, and I haven't listened to that article or that episode yet, but if you can trace the origin, it's a lot more helpful than if it has like 8 different countries on the side of the bottle, like, and you don't even know
Yeah.
where the origin
Oh yeah.
is. So, yeah, so there's a little bit of that and a little bit of calendula, which is a floral extract. So there is a little bit of plant-based still. And maybe that's, I mean, I don't know if that's the difference, but I chose calendula because it is something that actually can heal diaper rash. And I wanted my balm to be something that was helpful on babies' butts too.
Wow. and elderly people. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, safe for everybody, high performing.
So if you are listening and this sounds like something that you need to get your hands on, you are listening to the right podcast because we are going to be giving away a bottle of this stuff. So could you get into the details on this, please, Dr. Kelsey, on your giveaway?
Yes. So
Very generous giveaway.
I'm giving away a 4-ounce jar of my tallow body balm, which can be used anywhere on your body, including the face and obviously in your hair too. We are going to be posting on our Instagram. You can like my account, make sure you like Colt's account, and then you'll get an extra entry for every friend that you tag underneath it. So the giveaway will be open for 1 week, and then we'll announce the winner in our stories.
There you go, everybody. So go follow Dr. Kelsey on Instagram, and that's how you figure out how to be entered for this giveaway. All the details are going to be in there. What is your Instagram?
It is the.mindset.body.doc. Awesome.
Thank you very much for that. So go ahead over there right now, everybody. Also, one more thing I needed to tell you, Dr. Kelsey, is it's been helping my beard stay under control.
Wow.
I love that. Thank you. I'm so proud of it because this is the first time in my life I've ever been able to successfully grow facial hair. And both of my
Oh my gosh.
and both of my younger brothers have like full beards, and I just have never been a facial hair guy. Just never have been able to grow it.
Well,
But
I'm glad. Well, and actually, I'm glad to hear that because it's making my eyebrows grow in thicker, and I'm like all about it. I was just like,
okay.
how is this doing that?
I
Cool.
love it.
Well, I'm glad you're having a good experience with the tallow balm.
Oh yeah, that's an understatement. All right, thank you so very much, Dr. Kelsey, for your time. Where can everybody else go to find out more about you besides the gram?
Well, of course, on the gram. I am on Facebook, Kelsey Clevenger, and I'm on TikTok. And again, it's the.mindset.body.doc. Or you can
Wonderful.
come be my patient in Olympia. I'm happy to take new patients.
There you go. If you need a chiropractor and you live in Olympia, Washington, I know a good one.
Thanks
All
so
right.
much, Paul. This was really awesome.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. I know you're busy, and I'll let you get back to work. I'm sure you're about to go see another patient right now. Well, that's it for this week's session, everybody. Thanks a lot for listening, and make sure to let us know what you thought. You can do that directly from your podcast app, or you can DM Coach Mark or myself on Instagram. You can also email your feedback, questions for us, and more specific topics you'd like us to teach on next. If you need some gym motivation, don't feel bad, and look no further than our workout podcast we were talking about earlier called the supersetyourlife.com podcast. We are well over 200 episodes on that channel, and it's available on the same platform that you are listening to now. Just type Superset Your Life, all one word, into your search bar, and you'll see our black and white podcast logo pop up. It's a podcast specifically recorded to listen to when you work out. We regularly interview professional bodybuilders and judges, top nutritionists, leadership experts, stand-up comedians, and top athletes from supersetyourlife.com. We keep the focus on health first, bodybuilding, faith, and family. My wife Taylor and I are the hosts of that show as of 3 years and growing, and Coach Mark Ennis has been an enormous part of all we do there as well. Mark and I are both on Instagram and offer private one-on-one health and nutrition consultations as well as coaching services. Links to schedule coaching calls can be found on our Instagram bios or in the show notes of this podcast. One last reminder before we sign off, leaving your review only takes like 10 seconds. And so if you're on Spotify, where you can see in the show notes, right below that, it says Q&A. And bam, just like that, you can tell us exactly what you think. And then we will respond when we record the following week, either by reading your review or by discussing the topic that you'd like to know more about, or even by getting to work on whatever critiques that you have about how we can continue to improve this show. And that's how we communicate back and forth as a dialogue, not a monologue, in this intimate conversation that we call Carnivore Coach's Corner. Share this with a friend if you found it helpful, everybody. We'll catch you next week on session number 50.